It is 8:30 on the west coast of the United States. Make that 8:30 p.m. It is 0300 GMT, and this makes it Anything Can Happen Thursday for this evening. It is the 7th of May, 2015, last day of the week. Thank you for being here. It's been a long week. I'm going early tonight because I got a job interview tomorrow, and it's it's making me nervous. But I mean, I'm not unprepared. I'm not unexcited. You know, it's going to be a great job interview. Trying not to say where it is, but essentially, it is the job interview that I've been waiting for pretty much my entire life. You know, I'm not trying to build it up. Here's the thing: if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It isn't. It is a job interview, the magnitude of which I've been waiting my entire life. It is not necessarily the dream job. But it is going to be a job I've been training for certainly my entire life. There's multiple companies that I could do this job at, and you know, would do a great job. Otherwise, I'm sort of, you know, working on becoming a teacher, which is a long-term goal of mine. I don't want it to make it sound like I'm not trying to be a teacher or don't want to be a teacher, but I think most people know what it is I do naturally, what it is I feel like I belong doing, and when it comes down to it, what I feel like my reason for existing is doing some kind of news. And so, yes, I have a job interview tomorrow. That's why we're on early tonight. What's coming up? Oh, God, it's Anything Can Happen Thursday, and boy, do I save the greatest shit for Thursday. I mean, I do Nerd News Monday. That's good. I do Game Show Tuesday. Love that. I do Media Watch Wednesday. That's kind of for me, but people find it interesting. By the way, if you missed last night, Media Watch Wednesday, it was all about the train wreck of Comcast communications and the customer service problems they had. Go back and see the hour from last night, the 6th of May, 2015. But tonight, Anything Can Happen Thursday. Cats and people. Who's training whom? Also, what happens when you put a bunch of cats in a shoe organizer? A couple of really good cat pictures and videos and GIFs and so on. The ultimate smartass in a sex ed class. Interesting test surfaced on the interwebs this week. The tooth in the hand that people didn't know was there. The beetle who farts. The number of cars that are stolen from people who have left their keys in the car will boggle your mind. We have a story on that coming up. Also, fake skeletons found on the ocean floor, kind of a mystery. Is it a hoax? I mean, they're not real skeletons, but is it really a mystery or not? We'll look at that. Other stories from the hoax file, the WTF file. That's the file. Those are the two files I saved for Thursday night here with you on cBasAfterDark. And we're going to get right to it because the kitty cat stories I cannot stop myself from loving. Let's turn to the kitty cat in the shoe organizer first. Kitty cat, did I say? That's incorrect. It is not one cat. It is many cats. What happens when you put kittens in a hanging shoe organizer? Adorableness. Here's a look at the kittens in the shoe organizer. I have one of these shoe organizers. This is not my cat, or this is not my shoe organizer, I should say. And these are not my kittens, but tell me this is not among the greatest little animated GIFs you've ever seen. Here's the actual video. 48 seconds worth of kittenness. And the lady laughing. I think the Benny Hill music is funnier. Sorry, that's fucking money in the bank right there. I love that. And that little guy who keeps falling out of the second one from the bottom and then like trying to get back in, that might be the reason for existing right there. I mean, we could do cute, adorable cat videos all night. We will not do cat videos all night. And I kind of want to save the other one for last, but I won't because I feel like I got a bunch of the Trekkies in the Trekkie chat room switched over to me. Even if you stay for just the first 5 minutes, I want to make it worth your while. That means playing this thing. This is called Pavlov's Kitty. You see him wearing a shirt there. I did not know cats would really wear shirts, but let's just see. Do you see what he has down here? It's a bell. One of those bells at a hotel that summons the bellhop. Just enjoy. I'm really not even going to set this up. It's just so... Oh, God. Come on, audio. There we go. So he gets a treat when he rings the bell. How long can this go on for? I hear you cry. It's got a great ending, so do stick around for the ending. You haven't seen the whole thing yet. You didn't get it. Nope. There it goes. I'm sorry. I don't see how you can't watch this and fucking crack up. I think this is the greatest cat ever. All right, so we've seen it now for 53 seconds. I'll fast forward you a minute because you know what happens for that minute. Ding. All right, we'll watch this last 45 seconds. Last one. Okay.
Thank you. There you go. Good job.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
No more.
No more.
No more. We're done. No more treats. Okay. We're good. I know. We had enough treats. Yeah. Okay. One more. Okay. One more.
That's the ending I was waiting for. He knows what one more means, and he goes ding, ding, ding. Yeah, we're not done yet until I say we're done.
Bye-bye.
She's literally got to walk away from him for the game to be over. But, oh, man. I showed that to, like, well, my mom and sister loved it the most because they're kind of the cat people who are in my life. God, but that's just, you ever seen a cat video like that before? Ding! Crunch, 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 crunch. Ding! And it just, I'm sorry. I can't help it. Hey, how about sex? That'll keep you watching. Sex on the beach, as a matter of fact. Well, sex on a crowded beach. We can't show videos of sex on a crowded beach on this program, but we can show you the aftermath from NBCnews.com. Some people got into some pretty serious trouble, and holy mother of God, they may have to be registered as sex offenders.
Look at this YouTube video. The Manatee County couple doesn't hold back. Bold and brazen with their bodies, now busted and behind bars.
This isn't, an after-hours disco that people can use for a garbage can. This is the root of family.
8 on Your Side spoke exclusively with the cop who caught the couple on Cortez Beach last summer having sex in front of kids.
Very surprised that somebody would be that bold on a public beach, especially with people around.
40-year-old Jose Caballero and 20-year-old Elisa Alvarez claimed they were cuddling and wrestling that day, but this video sealed the dirty deal. Elisa's father was overcome with emotion. Now these two will have to register as sex offenders since this happened in front of children. People who live nearby, including the mayor of Bradenton Beach, are disturbed.
It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. There's a time and place for everything, and it's not for on the beach.
To be just that upfront and bold and just hardcore, it was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah, and I got to say, one of the things that I noticed about this was, I mean, I'm not a smart guy when I read comments sections of videos and news stories and so forth, but I do read the comments just to see exactly how stupid it can get, how retarded it can get. And so help me. Some of the people, you can kind of have a reasonable mind sort of see it both ways, right? In front of kids, no. In public, ew, probably not. But at the same time, there are people who are like, the most natural thing in the world is intercourse and blah, 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 blah. And what really got people going, it seemed like, was the word that they may have to register as sex offenders. Because that sticks with you for the rest of your life. And brought to you by Belch Beer. But so that's what's going on in Florida. You got to love Florida, right? And by the way, 40-year-old dude, 20-year-old girlfriend, kudos, and kudos again, I guess you could say, other than the sex on the beach in public thing. That's kind of like, what do they call that? That's voyeurism, right? When you like being watched, or is that like when you like watching? There's a thing, well, it's sort of like, what is it? SM, right? Sadism and masochism. One of them is being mean to someone. One of them is being mean, having been mean to you. or having pain inflicted on you. Anyway, this is cBas After Dark. You're watching my program. Anything Can Happen Thursday. Let's continue on. How about this one? Couple busted for sex, not on the beach, but in the stacks. What do I mean by the stacks? I mean the library. Let's look at the library video. This came from Drudge, and I'm not wild about sourcing Matt Drudge on much of anything because sometimes he's more about speed than accuracy. Let's continue to see, though. This is actually from Smoking Gun, which is a little less unhappy. May 1st, couple facing criminal charges after they stripped off their clothes and had sex atop a toilet in a family restroom at a Wisconsin public library. By the way, the pronunciation there, Wisconsin. I was at a Star Trek convention. This is a true story. I know that is hard to believe when I started off with I was at a Star Trek convention, but this is many years ago. I was at a Star Trek convention. Michael Dorn, Patrick Stewart. And Patrick Stewart said Wisconsin. And then Michael Dorn's like, wait. You don't pronounce that way. Patrick Stewart's all, what? And he's like, I heard you on set when you said this state name. Wisconsin. It's not Wisconsin. You said Wisconsin. And everybody laughed and thought it was funny. He's like, oh, yeah, I did say it that way. So Patrick Stewart thinks the state, or at least thought the state is pronounced Wisconsin, not Wisconsin. But anyway. A couple is facing criminal charges after they stripped off their clothes and had sex atop a toilet in a family restroom at a Wisconsin public library. An encounter that was interrupted when a woman walked in on the duo. Here's the criminal complaint. Daniel Goralski, 29, and Julie Doms, 19. Oh, my goodness. Again, kudos and kudos again. Had sex in the Waukesha Public Library bathroom. I mean, really? Sex in the bathroom? Ugh, unless it's on an airplane. And even then. Pictured it right, the couple engaged to be married mistakenly thought they'd locked the bathroom door. Oh my. A patron told a library security guard she walked into the bathroom around 5 p.m. Starting early, this couple is. Observed two subjects having sex sitting on a toilet. The pair was naked from head to toe. Added the woman who termed the behavior unacceptable. When guard Brett Best subsequently sought to enter the bathroom, it was locked. He heard clothing and zippers. It sounded like people getting dressed. When the couple emerged from the bathroom, they apologized, saying, "We're sorry, it won't happen again." Yeah, you want to bet? You want to guess as to why it won't happen again? During a police interview, she said she was at the library with her boyfriend, and they got excited because they hadn't seen each other in a couple of days. The Lovebirds are parents to a baby girl, live a few miles away. Citation for the naked bathroom romp. He was charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct due to his status as a repeat offender. Goralski's rap sheet includes convictions for bail jumping, domestic abuse injunction violation, and having sex with a child 16 or older. Ouch. Okay, there's something else that's not necessarily approved of or recommended, but, well, this sort of thing does happen. And what a nice guy it looks like, too, by the way, doesn't it? Let's talk about stolen cars just for a minute, because I don't know about you, but I don't have a car. And I would get angry if somebody had stolen my car. But let's turn to this news story, because this is the guy who had the stolen car with his wife's ashes in it, and the car was stolen with the wife's ashes inside. But a man, reporting from KGO, a man was reunited with his stolen car that contained his wife's ashes. 68-year-old Phil Hollenbeck. Just give me 1 second here, please. Okay, as I was saying, this police officer found the car with the ashes still inside. He was going to scatter the ashes in the Pacific Ocean when thieves stole the car in the Richmond district of San Francisco. I always just jump straight to saying the Richmond district before I realize that not everybody's in San Francisco and has no idea what the fuck the Richmond district is. His wife died in January. He's delaying the trip in hopes that some of the other stolen items will still turn up. His wife's walking stick and a pillow that she had quilted for him was also in the trunk and reportedly was stolen. So it's a sad story, kind of a cute story, but still one of those stories that you're like, oh, lordy lord. It's kind of unfortunate, but we're happy, had a happy ending, at least that he got it back. Now, while we're talking about stolen cars, let's look at the number of cars stolen last year because people left the drivers in them. How many left the keys in them, that is? How many people would you say left the keys in their cars and had the cars stolen? Let's look at the folks at slate.me. I believe that would just be slate.com Could I please just have the story? Cars stolen with keys inside. Many Americans are dopes. At least 44,000 cars were stolen last year because doofus drivers left the keys in them. Let's close the ads. Sorry about that, friends. I try to avoid the ads whenever possible. 2013 Honda Accord. It's the car model most frequently stolen in the United States. Bloomberg reports the number of car thefts in the U.S. has declined, perhaps because of security devices like smart keys, although that's not going to help you if you're leaving fucking smart keys in the car. Americans are getting dumber as evidenced by an increase in the number of vehicles being stolen after drivers simply leave their keys in the car and walk away. U.S. car thefts with keys inside jumped 14% from 2012 to 2014, reaching 44,828 last year, according to a study issued Monday by the National Insurance Crime Bureau. The actual number is probably higher because some people don't admit their carelessness to police or their insurer, according to the NICB, the National Insurance Crime Bureau. Again, I waver between being really surprised at that high number and not really being surprised at all, because goddamn, if people aren't like mind-bogglingly stupid on many, many fronts and ways and shapes and means and measures and fashions, people are very stupid a lot of the time, and this article is probably a good representation of that. Let's talk about farting beetles. You want to? What are bombardier beetles? Bombardier beetles? Oh, excuse me while I answer the telephone here. I have actually a telephone call I have to take. So just one. I thought it was going to be somebody who wanted to go on the air. Sadly, it was not. So thank you for staying with me here, but let's proceed with the broadcast. Oh, good Lord. What has happened? Is my camera malfunctioning? No. Okay, here we go. Everything's back. Sorry, I kind of, every time I get a phone call during the show, I answer it hoping the person's going to want to go on the air. That was actually just a friend of mine saying what's up and being surprised that I'm not able to talk because I don't normally do my show at this time. But we can't stop with the farting beetles. Can't stop without reporting to you the farting beetles. Let's switch over to this website, the Bombardier beetles. It might be Bombardier beetles. I don't know. It's not unheard of for insects to have some kind of thing. There's a hissing beetle that I think essentially farts in order to hiss. Beetle's toxic explosive vapor explained. There's the beetle. There's a look at the cloud it emits, apparently. With a hot, mighty blast from the rear, Bombardier beetles ward off predators with a harmful spray, and now they understand how the insects fire off the fog. They used X-ray imaging. This is from sciencenews.org, by the way, if you're wondering about the source. This is not some shitty website. Scientists monitored a two-chambered gland in the rump of the beetle. There, a cocktail of chemicals trickles from a reservoir chamber into a reaction chamber through a valve. In the reaction chamber, the cocktail causes a chemical explosion and forms toxic compound. Okay, I'm just going to stop here. How am I supposed to have a job interview tomorrow if I can't get one sentence out of my mouth without speaking clearly, without enunciating? Maybe I'm a little nervous. I don't know what the deal is. We're going to proceed with the news story and hope I can speak clearly. There, a chemical cocktail trickles from a reservoir chamber into a reaction chamber through a valve. In the reaction chamber, the cocktail causes a chemical explosion and forms toxic compounds called p-benzoquinones. The force of the blast closes off the valve, ensuring a controlled eruption, and propels the noxious spray out of the beetles behind in pulses, according to the May 1st edition of the journal Science. The bursts of fiery mist can get up to 100 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to boil water, and they're a defense mechanism. Unique to Bombardier beetles. Let's just see what this article looks like. Usually they don't have any pictures or anything fun there, but this is done at MIT, according to the corresponding author, whose email address is here. Bombardier beetles use a rapid series of discrete explosions inside this gland reaction chamber to produce a hot pulsed quinone-based defensive spray. The mechanism of Brackeen's spray pulsation was explored using anatomical studies and direct observation of explosions inside living beetles using synchrotron X-ray imaging. So if you learn nothing else from this program, realize you've learned that there are beetles who shoot off not just farts, but fiery mist from their asses in order to repel predators. Don't you wish you could do that? Don't I sure wish I could do that. Speaking of predators, hey, here's an interesting predator. This happened on a golf course. Are you big into the golf? Watching golf on TV? Golf is one of those things that I'm not really into in any way, but I certainly feel like if you're going to be into golf, you probably would have a better time playing it rather than watching other people play it. In this case, people do watch others play golf, and in this case, there's a video of something interesting that happened. Two alligators fought at the Zurich Classic, and it's the most exciting thing that's happened on a golf course in a long time. Let's just enjoy this video here.
Oh my, they're gonna fight, Oh my God, I got it on video. Woo! Check that out, he's got the wire. He's got the wire in his mouth. There goes the cable. There goes the TV. Holy Moses. That was wicked. Dude, you're eating the cable. I don't think it's any good. That was awesome.
This goes on a little longer.
Right there. Oh, that was too cool. That was too
You hear the polite golf clapping.
Oh my gosh. I got it on tape, baby. That was too cool. He's still pulling it. He's still pulling it.
Should we watch the beginning again? Looks like that's kind of the end of it, I guess.
Oh, there he goes. Okay. Oh, here he comes back. Here he comes back.
Careful, he's got it.
No, he's coming back to get this one again. Here he comes. Oh my, they're gonna fight. Oh my God, I got it on video. Woo! Check that out. He's got the wire. He's got the wire in his mouth. There goes the cable.
Got the wire in his mouth. Well, I don't know what wire that is, but but yeah, frankly, when you look at a golf course, you see two alligators fighting. That's probably the best golf match you've seen in quite a while, I feel like. Certainly kind of interesting. Have you watched, there's another show, and I got to say, I have not watched it much, but I've seen it, and I'm not even sure which channel it's on. It might be Nat Geo, the channel that does some animal shows, certainly. And the one that I wanted to talk about was the one where they do like poaching, like illegal animal products and illegal animal things. I don't know if it's like actual, and sometimes it seemed like it was illegal animals, like rare and exotic animals that are not legal in this country, explicitly illegal in this country. Anyway, it turns out not only is it something that you see on Craigslist and something like that, you'd certainly think a website like eBay probably would be a little bit better policed, but it turns out trafficking in endangered wildlife is something that thrives on a place like eBay. Let's turn to The Guardian here. If I'm able to activate the screen for you, you can see what I'm seeing, and this is a story, as I said, from The Guardian, where illegal trading in endangered wildlife is a thriving thing on eBay. Despite controls, the world's largest online marketplace is failing to combat illegal online trade in wildlife and wildlife parts. Illegal online trafficking in imperiled wildlife is rampant, and controls are few and largely ineffective. Log on to just about any international internet store, and in dealing with wildlife or wildlife parts, you'll find a Charnel House of Endangered and Protected Species, either hawked openly or under phony names and in violation of the law. eBay is one of the few that makes a serious effort to control such smuggling by deleting ads for illegal products, but only when it gets a notice or, otherwise hears about it. Chris Nagano of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Endangered Species Division is a trained lepidopterist. When asked if he sees ads for illegal butterflies on eBay, he replied, quote, "There are a number of imperiled butterflies openly advertised on eBay, including some listed under the Endangered Species Act. Ivory products are among the most popular items. I don't get why people buy ivory shit. That's just fucked up. Maybe it's just such a beautiful thing that you don't care where it came from, but that just seems really uncool. National Academy of Sciences, a body of scholars established by the U.S. Congress, estimates 100,000 elephants were killed by poachers between 2010 and 2012. So that's not 50 years ago. That's not 30 years ago. That is in the past 5 years, mostly to sate ivory demand of China's newly moneyed middle class. At that unsustainable rate, elephants are likely to be extinct in the wild within 2 decades. In less than 10 minutes, this reporter found what looked like 5 ivory trinkets. When reported to the senior manager of global corporate affairs, 4 were confirmed and immediately deleted. A week later, this reporter told the person about an ad for critically endangered, globally protected Queen Alexandra's bird wing, the world's largest butterfly with wings sometimes spanning a foot, and males aglow with all kinds of colors. Next day, that ad was gone. But such deletions scarcely make a dent. And although eBay has installed filters to catch words like ivory, smugglers do the usual thing. First, they called ivory faux ivory. When filters caught up to that, they called it oxbone until filters picked that up too. So it's one of those things. It's like a whack-a-mole thing, right? Where you keep changing the name of it and you keep evolving the name of it so that the filters that are automated can't just sweep it out automatically. And this actually is a story that goes on for a long time. For examples of thousands, ocelot is an endangered species, Siamese croc endangered species, real python skins, real lynx coat. As these listings of illegal ads poured in, eBay deleted many of them, but the filter dodging just keeps continuing. It's one of those things where, you know, it's not quite like Comcast, as I looked at like Comcast last night, where it's like they don't really see, they claim to want to provide a good customer experience, but the repeated story we hear from customers all over is that they are not having a good experience. And I mean, maybe you can't really compare them. Maybe that's an apples and oranges thing, but I feel like, you know, a company that tries to do good versus a company that doesn't even really try. They just claim to try. You know, the product provided by Comcast is a very different product than the product provided by eBay. And as said, eBay seems to be trying to police it better, but it's sort of like YouTube and copyrighted videos, you know. How much is YouTube going to police its own videos? The amount of video that is uploaded every second to YouTube is like longer than the amount of time that's ever existed practically. And it's growing and growing and growing and growing at an exponential rate. So the more people get these phones, the more video gets uploaded. The more video that gets uploaded, you know, the less the company is able to put any kind of human screening on any of it. It's got to be automated, and even the automated screening sometimes is not perfect, but quite an interesting story. Hey, I love a story about a guy who gets stuck between the walls while trying to escape from the police. Let's look at this from the Associated Press. The good old, and I emphasize old Associated Press. Let's see here. They are waiting for the story to load. Meanwhile, I will switch over to you and you can see it along with me here. Firefighters rescue man who wedged inside the wall to invade the cops. Monrovia, Indiana, a central Indiana man who hid inside a wall in his home to avoid arrest, then had to be rescued by firefighters after he became wedged next to its chimney for more than a day. Stephen Schuler was trying to avoid arrest on a probation violation when he squeezed down a narrow hole in the attic floor next to the chimney. It's about 25 miles southwest of Indianapolis. Morgan Township Fire Chief Michael Longay said that the man, Stephen Schuler, had to stay in his 16-inch wide hiding space for more than a day because he couldn't climb out. A visiting friend found him Tuesday morning, called firefighters to retrieve him. Longay said he'd never encountered anything like that in 3 decades on the job. It was a special kind of stupid. This is one of those jobs where you think you've seen it all and then somebody tops it. The sheriff's corporal said Schuler was arrested Tuesday on the probation violation and remained held Thursday at the county jail. Let's just check the date on that to make sure it's not ancient. No, April 23rd, so that's good. Let's do a news search. Man, let's just see. Man inside wall. This is the one from Monrovia, Indiana. Let's look at other ones. Monrovia, Indiana, Monrovia. Here's one. Troopers find man lost in wall of Ted Williams tunnel. Man stuck in storm drain inside Boston tunnel arrested. Let's see here. Car rolls through wall. Let's see. I feel like this is not exactly what I wanted. Oh, this looks interesting. From folks at TechCrunch, how thieves stole the most expensive watch in the world. An excerpt from Marie Antoinette's watch. The arrow points to the opening in the window, which they broke into the museum. So this is actually not a new story. This is an excerpt from a book about this theft. That looks interesting, though. Very interesting. All right, it is 9 o'clock. I don't really have a ton more. Let's see. What else did I promise you? Oh, yes. How about this? The fake skeletons in lawn chairs. What the hell is up with this story? This is what I was going to save for last, so I don't know if I have much more beyond this unless somebody wants to text me or link me to some sort of really good hoax story or WTF story. Somebody having sex in a public place, somebody punking somebody else, another kind of insect that farts. Authorities find fake skeletons in lawn chairs in the undersea area here. It's almost like a tea party, they say, and the La Paz County Sheriff found it. Where it was here in Arizona. A man snorkeling in the Colorado River near the Arizona-California border was first terrified and later embarrassed when he came across two fake skeletons sitting in lawn chairs about 40 feet underwater. This may be like the longest practical joke that anybody's ever tried to do. The man reported the skeletons to the La Paz County Sheriff's Office Monday. Again, looking at the date here just to make sure it's not ancient. Posted May 5th, so this is in the past couple of days. What is this video? Minute 26. Is this like a GoPro? Looks like it. I mean, could this guy shooting this video be the one who put these here? So, I mean, to find those like that seems unlikely, although that one looked like it had been there a long, long time. The one closer to the camera does not. That one looks like it's been there a long time. What does that even say? Oh, wait, this is the video from the person, like the people who went in and checked afterward, who determined them to be fake, right? What does that even say? Something about in the river, 2014. Bernie, something Breen in the river, a date, 2014. That one even had sunglasses on. But there they are in lawn chairs. So there you have that, I guess. Okay, that's the end of the video, essentially. Let's finish reading the story here. I don't think they were trying to set anything up to scare anyone. I think they were going to try to be funny. Oh, here we go. The skeletons are wearing sunglasses, and one is holding a sign that includes the words Bernie and Dream in the River, although the entire sign is not legible. The sign also has the date of August 16th, 2014, which is possibly when the skeletons were placed there. Oh, I see. This could be a reference to Weekend at Bernie's, in which the two main characters lug around their dead boss for days, losing and recovering the bodies several times. The sheriff's office will not launch an investigation into who left them there. They say they go all the time to false alarms. This is just a first responder's life. We're not trying to be overly concerned about it, not make too big a deal out of it. Instead, they're wanting to have a little fun. Divers will recover the skeletons sometime this week and consider placing them outside the sheriff's office as a joke. We like to show some things that are fun, some levity too. But in the meantime, don't think it's okay to go put something there, because no doubt it'll get found. Well, how about that? There's a couple things I think I felt like I wanted to talk about. Talked about my job interview. Tonight was the closing episode for the season of The Big Bang Theory. If you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to really talk much about it at all. But it did set up the season premiere, the cliffhanger, sort of, if you will. And it finished up nicely from this last cliffhanger a year ago. So that was cool. This year had a lot of weird stuff in it, because this was the year that the actress who played Wolowitz's mom died. And that was kind of sad. And they dealt with that in kind of a unique and very touching way off the course of a couple of episodes. And then, let's see, there were other stories I wanted to bring as well, which have completely escaped me. This is why I try to write that shit down. But I feel like the personal stuff I don't need to write down, and then I always forget what it was. But yeah, do find something lucky for me and grab it, because I am going to be on a job interview as of midday tomorrow. And I don't know what to think. I mean, there's not any research I can do. I've done some, even though I didn't feel like I needed to, and I don't need to, because the research I did was nothing I did not already know. It's a company I've literally been aware of and knowing about since the beginning of my career, and before that even, 1993, earlier. So I'm well aware of the company I'm applying for. I know what they do. I know how they do it. I know my own skills and skill set. I know my own creativity. I know what it is that I can contribute to their operation. I'm aware of their efforts in social media. I don't know if I could really improve a lot on it, but I could certainly, do what they're doing, without even trying hard. I don't need a lot of training. That's the other thing. You pick me up and I will be ready to work instantaneously, because I'm aware of how to edit audio. I'm aware of how to write news. I'm aware of how to conduct interviews. I'm aware of how to do Twitter and how to do Facebook and online media and all that stuff. So, I've literally just been waiting for 2 weeks for this damn interview to get here, and sort of trying not to oversell it or overthink it in my head. Like, that's the worst thing you can do. And I've been actually fairly successful, even surprising myself at that. By the way, also, this is the last episode before Mother's Day. So in the event your mother is still around and you have the ability to say something nice to them, to your mother, do something nice for her, take her out to dinner, give her a hug, buy her a flower. I will show you what I bought my mom, because she asked for it. She asked for a basil plant. And I decided, well, yes, I will buy a basil plant for my mom, and bought her a lovely basil plant. And anyway, it was a wonderful thing. Hold on. I've had my friend, actually my good friend from my old job, has texted me about my job interview. So give me 2 seconds, take a quick beverage, and I'm going to answer him. It was an awesome show you put on tonight. I am a big fan, I'll tell him. Anyway, I think that's kind of all I had. Let me just go back to the show rundown and make sure I have included everything that I promised. Skeletons found on the ocean floor, cars stolen from dumb people, a tooth in the hand. Let's do the tooth in the hand before I go, because that'll be an interesting thing. Oh, the ultimate smartass in the sex ed class. I can't not include that either. Let me pull that up, because okay, that's it. Here's the story I wanted to finish up with. There's two of them. Let's see. I have to get to the bottom of my thing. So a guy punched a guy. I think it was his brother. And then they find something in the guy's hand that he was not expecting. And what they found is coming up here for you. Sorry, I'm literally texting with my friend who's now asking all these details about the job. But yes, what they found after the guy punched his brother, it was unclear to me. One news story said it was an accident. One news story did not really weigh in on whether it was an accident. But a doctor finds a tooth in the patient's hand after he accidentally punched his brother. A British teenager who went to the hospital with a swollen hand discovered a tooth was embedded between his finger joints. The 19-year-old told doctors, oh shit, what happened? He told doctors he accidentally struck his brother in the mouth when he came in between him and a punching bag. Oh, I see. So that did suggest it was a legit punch, but not a bad one. His brother left hand after the punch, so he did know the extent of his injuries. The man washed his hand, which had a cut on it, and went to bed. The next day, he woke up in a lot of pain. His hand was swollen. They diagnosed him with a human bite wound. They ordered an X-ray and found the tooth right there. It was removed. He did some damage. It says the muscle tissue surrounding the tooth had died. Tendons to his pinky were also frayed. I guess they couldn't. I mean, the guy who was missing a tooth ought to have known, shouldn't he? They just couldn't find it, they thought, or something. Such an approach sticks to the facts of the mechanism of the injury without implying blame or collusion with a criminal investigation. The patient's description of the accidental jab seemed inconsistent. He noted it was more likely the injury was caused by an uppercut punch, given that the tooth was found perpendicular to the lower finger bones. So maybe that story about coming in between his brother's hand and the punching bag did not ring exactly true. I don't know. What do you think of that story? Like, I mean, is that bullshit? I punched my brother, but it was an accident, or my brother punched me. Like, the thing I'm worried about is the one guy didn't notice his tooth was missing. Like, seriously? I mean, it would have had to have been a really far back. Even I don't care what tooth you're missing. If you're suddenly missing a tooth, you're aware of it. Maybe, like I say, he was aware of it, but they just thought he couldn't find it, and they're like, I don't know. Whatever. The story about the hostage pizza, I like. I feel like everybody heard about it, though, because it was all over the major news organizations. Somebody was being held hostage by her boyfriend. She and her kids were being held hostage and ordered a pizza on the iPhone and used the iPhone Pizza Hut app to put a special request for the pizza in there. And the special request which she put was, get 911 to me, I am being held hostage. Yeah, I mean, that was really an interesting story. Never let anything, come between you. Do use the resources you have. And indeed, she used the resources she had. Okay, this is where we'll end. We'll go 45 minutes. That's a good, nice length of a show. 14-year-old girl was suspended for these hilariously snarky answers to a sex ed quiz. This seems to be legit. It's not a news site. This is from that someecards.com site, and I think sometimes they maybe flush stuff up. But girl was suspended 2 years ago. This is a user from Imgur who said he's proud of his sister after turning in this handout. Possible objections to condoms. Don't worry, I'm on the pill. I don't want AIDS, she writes. I'm clean. I don't run around. I don't have any infections. Go fuck yourself. 3, condoms don't feel good. It won't be natural. Being pregnant doesn't feel good either. By the time you put a condom on, you've lost the mood. When you don't put one on, you get a little, I can't quite read that, a little baby and AIDS. I feel stupid buying condoms, trying to hide them from my parents. You're probably no sex for me. I can't quite read that. I'd be embarrassed to use one. Look at all the fucks I give. Condoms are gross. They're messy. I hate them. So are babies. Just this once, we hardly ever have sex. Now you know why. I don't have a condom with me. I don't have my vagina with me. They cost too much. STD treatments and babies cost more. So again, assuming that's real, and I think that's probably not a fake. I mean, that seems legit to a certain degree. Although, of course, this author is saying, really? She was suspended. Why? Because of a couple of F-bombs? That just shows her commitment to the idea. I got to say, I am not somebody who is objective. Somebody who objects to the F word. So I feel like that's legit. I feel like that's completely above board, and I support the hell out of that. Okay. Oh, I ran out of steam. Forgive me for going only 15 minutes short this week, but I'm tired and I kind of want to think about my job interview tomorrow. Do wish me luck. Find something lucky and grab it for me. I appreciate every one of you. Oh, I do remember the last thing I will end. This is a perfect thing to end on because it's only one little statement. I did a quick count on YouTube, the YouTube videos section, where all these programs I've ever done are stored. The show you just watched was cBasAfterDark, episode 50. It's, not widely watched. The most watched ones I get have, maybe 100. The fewest ones I get, sometimes 1 or even 0. There have been episodes I've done where, according to Google Analytics and Google Metrics, nobody has watched. But that said, it's been an interesting ride. I hope to be able to keep doing it. I don't see why I would have to stop if I got this job. There may be something where, I have to sign some kind of agreement where the only product I'm producing is for the company that I'm working for. And in that case, this would have to come to an end. I don't get money for this. This is just kind of a creative outlet for me in the time when I'm not doing another broadcasting job. So I feel like this is kind of, but it's very liberating. I will say that the people who've done podcasts are right about this one thing. And that is enormously liberating. You don't have to watch what you say. You can do any kind of, it's much more direct with the audience. The audience is smaller, but it is much more direct and much more sort of intimate and much more real and honest and that kind of thing. So thank you for watching. I don't know who you are, or I don't know, if you've watched a long time, but thank you. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on tape, it means a lot. If I included the fast food, junk food podcast, then it would be much more than just 50. It'd probably be close to 75, I guess. But this is show 50 that you've just watched, and it was nice of you to be here. So thank you for being here. Hope to see you again on Monday night. Hope to see you, for that matter, Saturday night for the Fast Food Junk Food podcast with me and my partner, Sarah, in Oregon. Until next time, I am cBas. This is cBas After Dark. Thanks for being